Fans, Jason here. Welcome to Founder of the Day Trivia Night. It's Friday, which means it's Trivia Day here at Founder of the Day. Colonel, Cookie, hi. Thank you for coming. Thank you for commenting. Who's ready for some trivia? Now, it always takes people a second to scroll in, and there's Troy. Speaking of the devil, thanks for coming, Troy. It's going to be a great time. Yes, thank you for being inclusive, Troy. That's very nice. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. So here we go. No real announcements or anything of that nature today. I'm just glancing to my side and YouTube's telling me no one's here, but I've seen at least 3 of you comment. That's certainly deceiving. Either way, since you're here and commenting, let's get right to the trivia. Why not? Oh, I guess there is one announcement. We are going to be doing a significant amount of changes to trivia next week. Don't worry, still fun and games. Still going to be 8:30 on Fridays, but I'm going to start making up a large chunk of the questions, and wink wink, they are going to be, I wink with this eye better, they are mostly going to be based off of the articles slash videos I produce each day. So you might want to make sure you catch those. I know a lot of you guys like to watch live. Don't have that much time, but each morning I put out a brief video and article about the same American founder or event. So if you want to keep up, you might want to glance over at those. At least follow me on Twitter or Facebook and check out the title. That might give it away. Yeah, I'm making my own test. I was thinking about it, and kind of the point of Founder of the Day is to help us all learn about the American Revolution. I learn new things all the time. I share them with you. So it'll help everyone learn, I would hope. There will still be fun and games. The thing is, we may no longer be doing our big grand finale we've been doing. I'm going to cut that down to once a month as a special event because a lot of people tune in to see trivia and they just see me here typing and saying names. And it's not a lot of fun for people who've never been here before. And when I say we, I mean me. I've lost kind of a ton of, like, thousands of people who've come to Founder of the Day to see trivia, seen that, and just kind of left immediately. And, well, that's not as inclusive as we want it to be, is it? So, Colonel, yep, start paying attention. With that out of the way, with that garbage done, let's go to trivia over here with question numero uno. Why did the American currency inspire the saying, "not worth a continental"? Now, it's early on in the game. We're going to start out with some easier ones. There will be some harder ones later on, but still plenty of fun. Why did the American currency inspire the saying, "not worth a continental"? I mean, you don't have to take notes. I publish articles with the videos every day. They're very brief, very short articles for American history fans on the go. They're also linked to at the bottom of each video, so you can pop those up while we play. Maybe that'll help. Although, don't do that. I guess I can't stop you from making it an open book test, but I can certainly recommend you don't. Why did the American currency inspire the saying, "not worth a continental"? Though, in hindsight, we are all playing on the same team here, really, so there's no real winners and losers. Just friends. And I'm waiting for one of you guys to answer. I know you guys are here, and this is the easy question today. Deborah, thank you for coming, and thank you for being the first one to answer the first question of the day. And since no one else is doing it, I'm going to throw that out too. Yes, because Continentals quickly plummeted in value, and as I read my writing, I'm not entirely sure that's how you spell the word plummeted, but it certainly seems to make sense. Yeah, the Continentals were the original currency that they made, and yes, for a variety of reasons, as Colonel is pointing out, they had no value. So, there you go. They did their best. Well, I guess your best wasn't good enough. Question number 2. What side did Benedict Arnold fight on during the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga? Now, I'm only about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of you guys right now. By the end of the video, I will be about 10 seconds ahead. I don't know how YouTube makes that change. It seems normal to me, but as of right now, you should answer pretty quick. What side did Benedict Arnold fight on during the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga? Now, this is an interesting question because Benedict Arnold fought on both sides during the war. Kind of famously, if you're here playing trivia specifically about the American Revolution, you probably know about Benedict Arnold. Troy with a hilarious answer. Troy saying, on the right side of history. I suppose that's what side of the war you were on. I'm sure there's certain Canadians who have ancestors that would disagree with you. The Yanks, the Continentals. All right, guys, we do know this one. They were starting out a little easy. Yeah, he did fight with the Patriots. Fort Ticonderoga was like right away when the siege of Boston started, just after Lexington and conquered. 5 years before he changed sides. It's how long yeah, I can call him Ben. I'll call him Ben. Ben Arnold was being treated poorly by the Continental Congress before he did the treason. Next question. Who had a stronger navy, the British or the Patriots? And we are going to focus these next handful of questions on the Navy because one of the most important overlooked parts of the Revolutionary War was the war at sea. So, do tell, who had the stronger Navy? Again, we're starting off a little easier today, guys. That's all right. See Deborah coming out with an answer. Gonna hold out for another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds and see another answer. And this is easy. It probably gave it away when I said it was easy. Yes, the British had the mightiest navy in the world, arguably, pretty easily. You could pretty easily argue, at least in the Western world. So yeah, until the French showed up. But even then, the British arguably still had the best war, although the French joining the war certainly distracted the British Navy, and they couldn't just focus on colonial North America. They had to go all around the world to protect all their colonies. Okay, let's do another question before we pop over to our other thing. Who was the most successful Patriot privateer? Benedict Arnold, Francois de Grasse, or John Paul Jones? Now, quick side note, as I often run into talking about the American Revolution, I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce de Grasse's name. I believe it's Francois. That part's easy. I did take 5 years of French in high school. You'd think I'd master pronunciation. I know in Canada they have a show called Degrassi, so I'm assuming it's Degrassi, but it feels like de Grasse. I don't think it's grass. Anyway, thank you, Troy. I do admire this question. I actually have a little bit of a conflict with the answer. Hint, hint. As usual, I have a little bit of a not happiness with the answer. Again, the key word is privateer, which is why I have trouble with the answer. I see, okay, here comes some answers. Here comes some answers. Now, the answer on the card that I've been using is John Paul Jones. Benedict Arnold did outfit privateers. He sacrificed his entire fortune to the American Revolution. What a hero. Francois de Grasse, I believe, was actually in the French Navy, which would exclude him from a privateer. He was paid as a naval sailor, part of the Navy. Don't know why I can't find the words. Privateer is specifically a ship that's hired out by the Congress, giving a letter to a privately owned ship to go attack the enemy, as opposed to a government-owned ship. And I believe de Grasse was sailing on a government-owned ship. That being said, John Paul Jones was on a privateer, but he ends up being absorbed into the Continental Army. That's why he's the father of the American Navy, because he did that. So it's hard to say he wasn't part of the Navy when he was. But then the Continental Navy was made up of all like privately owned ships that were essentially donated. So it's a sticky one. But before we go any further, we're going to take a break from the Navy. Let's pop over here and play today's game. And this is the type of game I am a big nerd for. Now I'm just going to show you a white screen for 1 sec while I pop this up, because I have to keep it minimized or else it overloads my computer. We are going to look at, and this might be a little hard to read, can you name the largest cities in the United States in 1790? Now, these are the largest states by population in 1790. So, as essentially the first census after the Constitution is ratified, the year after George Washington becomes president, they do a census, and that's how we know how populated these cities were. There's 24 of them here, and we have 6 minutes. So, as usual, I'm a few seconds ahead of you guys. I'm going to wait for someone to name me a city. And once that happens, you just keep naming cities that you think were the most populated back in 1790. So go ahead, and we see Deborah coming out already. I'm going to hit play quiz. We got Boston. That's probably number 3. Yes, good guess. Philadelphia, I'm going to guess number 1. if I can spell it, Philadelphia. Number 2 in 1790. New York, number 1 by 1790, which is crazy because that's 15 years after it was like number 3. Charleston, great guess. If I spell it right, definitely number 4. Albany's going to be high on the list. Absolutely. Ooh, number 19. That's embarrassing. Albany was very important, but I guess smaller. Baltimore. You don't spell it with semicolon, but good guess. Number 5. All right. So we've gotten the top 5 are all 10,000 or more people. So everything else is less than 10,000 people. And everyone's frozen up. That is a good start. And New York, like I said, New York was smaller than both Philadelphia and Boston, and I think Charleston when the war starts, but the population is growing so fast. That's why most New Yorkers were so excited not to join the Constitution, because you could literally see the population booming. I don't know if everything froze up or if you guys are panicking. Trenton, good guess. Oh, did I scroll down too far? Did I not type it? What happened? Trenton. New Jersey. No, I guess not. Newport. Good guess. Newport, Rhode Island on the list. Salem, Massachusetts. Yes, bigger than Newport. Is there another city in Rhode Island? I think there's one more, and it's probably on this list. Also, I will give you a hint at New Hampshire. Has a pretty big city. Providence. There it is. Yep, right under Newport. I will also give you a hint that certain parts of the cities we've already named used to not be part of those cities. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. For example, New York City didn't have 5 boroughs back then. It was just the tip of Manhattan. Wow, Troy, good guess. Perth, Amboy. Oof, that's a good guess. It's not happening here, but that's the type of guess we're looking for. Newcastle, good guess. Nope. Nope. But is Newcastle Delaware or Maryland? But Delaware. Harlem is not Brooklyn. Not yet. Okay, maybe New York City was a bad example. Long Island. Well, Long Island's not just one city, but you're on the right track. Harlem is the type of correct answer. Harlem, but it wasn't populated at all then. Okay, think Massachusetts. I will give you a hint. There's a bunch of Massachusetts towns, small towns today that are on this list. There's a bunch of Pennsylvania small towns on this list. I would also think capitals of Pennsylvania. Maybe a famous historic area. Oh, Virginia. Okay. This is a tough quiz. I will give you that. I honestly don't even know all the answers. There is one that I can never remember. It's like Northern Liberties. I'm going to type it in. Northern Liberties. I'm going to help you guys out today. Yes, the 6th most popular. That is essentially my understanding. North Philadelphia. They used to call Northern Liberties. Richmond. There it is, Troy. You got Rich, if I can spell it. Yes, Richmond's on the list. Williamsburg. Oh, doesn't make the list. Okay, another bad hint. Clearly, I don't know. I know there's things like we got Salem, Massachusetts. Are there other parts of Massachusetts? I don't want to stump you guys. I see people leaving. I thought this quiz would be easier. Oh, New Haven. Now we're talking. New Haven's on there. Now, Connecticut had 2 capitals at the time, Troy. Today it only has 1. It's the other one. Maybe you guys are not population/geography nerds like I am. Truthfully, when I first found this website, it's because I was doing like most populous cities in each state and most populous capitals in the world and things like that before I found the master list we now play as our grand finale. Marblehead. Look at you guys on the same page. Marblehead, a correct answer. Whammy. Maybe places just outside of Boston that might be suburbs of modern Boston. That's the hint I should have given earlier. Suburbs of Boston, suburbs of Pennsylvania. Norfolk. There it is, Colonel. Great answer. Although it does burn at the time. There we go. Let's see if we get 2 more before it's out. Cambridge. Not Cambridge, but that's a good guess. Braintree, I kind of doubt, but you're in the right area. Richmond, I think we got. Yes, but it is a correct answer. I think the biggest cities in Delaware, maybe? Oh, Georgia. Georgia. There's a city that gets captured. That might not make it to this list, but it's the most populated one in Georgia at the time. Southwark. Yes, Southwark. Nice. Trenton, I think we did. There's another city over there we didn't do. Okay, Gloucester. Oh, that's a good guess. Savannah. Sorry, Troy. I gave you the hint. Didn't make the list. That is the city in Georgia. That's the biggest city in Georgia. Not big enough. All right, people leaving en masse. All right, I think we got Norfolk. We did. I want to see if Germantown. No, I tried. Okay. Woo! Woo! That's tough. Okay, well, we got the top 10. Actually, we got 11 because there's a tie for top 10. Oh, you know what? We both spelled Gloucester wrong, so that is correct. Hartford, I was alluding to for Connecticut before. It does make it up here. We missed Gloucester, Massachusetts, Newbury, Massachusetts, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Shelburne, now Nantucket, Massachusetts, Middleborough, Massachusetts, Petersburg, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, Hartford, Connecticut, and Hudson, New York. These are all super small. Like I said earlier, New York, 33,000. I mean, 33,000 is not what we would not consider that a big city today at all. It's really interesting. Virginia is the most populated, and the first Virginia most populated state, and Richmond at number 18 is the most populated city in Virginia at just 3,700. I mean, that's because most of Virginia was on plantations and living as small farmers and things like that. But my high school was almost as big as most of these towns. Me too, Troy. Me too. And like I said, the real fascinating thing is if we did this quiz, I don't think they have one for 1770, but 20 years earlier, New York is down in like number 4 or 5. Like when the revolution starts, Philadelphia is one of the most populated cities in all of the British world. And it doesn't really lose that much population. It just New York gains. New York lost population. First the Patriots left, and then all the loyalists evacuated, and a third of the city burns down. And in 7 years after the end of the war, just everyone moves there. Hamilton starts his banks. Okay. Good times, great oldies. B103. I don't know if you guys get that reference. That might be a very specifically Long Island 1990s radio joke. B103. Okay, next query. Now we're all back playing again. What country sent its navy to help the Patriots? Okay, we're stepping back to an easy question now that we've actually already answered. I will give you 5 or 6 seconds to do this one because it's essentially a repeat. And I know Troy already kind of gave this one away. 3, 2, 1. I'm not even really going to wait for you guys. It is France. Deborah beat me to it. You just barely beat me to it. I am about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of you, but France sent us some Navy help. Pretty obvious to fans of the American Revolution. Not so obvious. The Battle of Valcour Island occurred on what lake? Now, I do apologize for that. Let me get my capitals correct, because that is hard to look at. The Battle of Valcour Island occurred on what lake? Huh? Tell me about it. It is arguably the first battle of an American Navy. It was a Patriot Navy. It was after the Continental Army had been established. And I don't want to give away too many hints. I want to see if you guys know this one, because this is a very extremely important one. Let's see, Deborah coming in, Troy coming in with different answers. You both coming in with upstate New York. I appreciate that. As a resident of such. I'm going to see if anyone else. There's a bunch of people playing. Let's see, Colonel, what do you think? See if we can get someone to break the tie in the audience right now before I unveil the magical, mysterious, correct answer. I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1. Troy coming in, saying he's wrong. Well, you're right. You're right that you're wrong, Troy. It is Lake Champlain. Lake Champlain, which essentially straddles New York and New Vermont, leads down to Lake George, just south of it, then down to the Hudson. The British were coming down. When they say they come down the Hudson, we always say they come down the Hudson, but first they have to sail down Lake Champlain, then Lake George to get to the Hudson. It's on Lake Champlain that American hero Benedict Arnold is hiding behind Valcour Island. A really terrible place to be. The British turn around and he's essentially trapped. Somehow they hold him off, and then somehow Benedict Arnold manages to loop around through and sneak down and save his men. American hero. Till you know, the thing. The Continental Congress authorized private vessels to attack British ships. What were they called? Again, we are essentially stepping back. I'm going to wait until just one of you answer and we will continue because we have more or less answered this question. Unfortunately, referencing these cards, sometimes there's overlap, which is why, again, next week, big announcement, I will start basing most, if not all, most of the questions we discuss off of prior articles from this articles/videos about the founders of the week I just discussed. The best way to learn about that and get some tutelage for these games is Thursday nights at 8:15. Usually at 8:15, I do a weekly review where I talk about all these people. So another big hint, if you don't want to watch all the videos, pop over to that the night before as your like preschool warm-up. All right. And Colonel did pop in here and gave us the right answer. Privateers. They were given what's called letters of marque, that I've mispronounced most of my life as letters of marquis because that's how they're spelled, because French. It's essentially a piece of paper that the government writes saying, hey, you, with that ship you own, go ahead and attack our enemies. Last Navy question of the day. What ship did John Paul Jones capture after his boat was sunk? Now, this is a tough question. The actual question had the name of his boat that was sunk in it. But I would probably have accidentally named his boat, and that's why I left it empty. I'm willing to accept the wrong answer, which is his boat that sunk, or for 1,000 extra points, what's the name of the boat he captured after his boat was sunk, or essentially while it was sinking? Let me see the other question. Yes, after the Patriot vessel was sunk. So, name me one of John Paul Jones's boats. This is tough. I will stall here for a few seconds, giving you guys the opportunity to think and throw something out, because like I said, I understand this is actually one of those very difficult questions. Probably the hardest question of the night. Though certainly not my favorite. Troy. With the Bon Richard, I believe it's pronounced, because it's Francois. Colonel HMS Drake. That's a really great guess. I will say, Colonel with the HMS, if John Paul Jones was taking a ship, would have been one of the British ones. The answer is HMS Serapis, I believe it's pronounced. Now, I want to give a shout out to Troy, because the ship that John Paul Jones was on that got sunk was the Bon Richard. And he left the Bon Richard as it sunk, and while it was sinking, essentially caught the HMS Serapis, if I have my timeline right. He sunk a bunch of other ships, too. Troy, 2 million points for the Bon Richard, because that's the answer I gave. When I read the question, I was like, oh, that's tough. I was like, is it the Bon Richard? And I look it up, and I'm like, no, that's right. His ship was the Bon Richard, unfortunately, sunk. But he did capture the HMS Serapis. So we're done with the Navy for now. And we're going to move on. We got 2 more questions to our grand finale. Which state was nicknamed the Crossroads of the Revolution? And for a little bit of a bonus point, tell me why. What state was it? There's no way to know. Oh, man. Do you guys enjoy me laughing at myself? Is that what you really come for? Is to see me tell myself jokes and assume you're on the other end of the screen just laughing uncontrollably? It's funny because I often get frustrated when I watch videos of people who laugh at themselves, and here I am just being so hilarious. I tell my spouse that all the time. how lucky she is to be married to the funniest person in, I don't want to say America, but like 300 nautic miles. All right, we got Deborah and Colonel coming in saying the same state, and they're saying the correct state. It is New Jersey. New Jersey was the crossroads of the Revolution because it had the most violence, aka the most battles of the war. More battles of the war took place in New Jersey than in anywhere else. Troy, I must be a little bit ahead of you, but you're guessing correct. New Jersey is it's right in the middle, and between taking over New York, going to Philadelphia, George Washington doing his Princeton and Trenton, what is it? Brandywine, I think, is technically Pennsylvania, but Monmouth, I believe, is New Jersey. And then just because of the forage wars, where they're both skirmishing for food, there are so many small battles. Colonel, 200 battles. Thank you for that addition, Colonel. Absolutely. 200 battles fought. Battles is a strong word. Most of those were probably be better termed skirmishes, but I'm not taking that away from you. That you're absolutely right. There was just a ton of Patriot and Redcoat blood was spilled in New Jersey. Let's pop over to our final question here. Question number the 10th. 10-0, as I've been teaching my kids to make it easier. Hailing from Virginia, which Patriot general was never defeated during the war? Now, I will be honest, I'm sure there's more than one general who never lost a battle, because there's probably a handful that never really led any battles, but this particular general led several battles and won them all, because he was very good at it, I presume. Let's see. Probably why it's so haunted. Oh, is New Jersey particularly haunted? I didn't realize that. I know the Headless Horseman is from just north of New Jersey in lower upstate New York, just north of New York City. Yeah, the Headless Horseman is from Sleepy Hollow, which is just north of New York City. And I think it was in the 90s where that area actually, part of a town broke off and named itself Sleepy Hollow. Because the Headless Horseman is a German mercenary who was killed by Patriot cannon fire. Yeah, you're welcome. Happy Halloween. Also, Rip Van Winkle. If you probably remember the name, and I'm waiting for you guys to answer this, so I am stalling till I get at least one answer. You might remember Rip Van Winkle. You might have forgotten that you remember he falls asleep on a hill. You might have forgotten he falls asleep in upstate New York in the Catskills before the American Revolution, and he wakes up after the American Revolution, and he goes to town with his long beard, and he says, "Hey, God save the king." And everyone's like, "No." And it's only because his daughter grew up and remembered, that's my dad. He fell asleep. Rip Van Winkle. He fell asleep for 30 years. That's why he still thinks we have a king. Thanks, Washington Irving. Troy with Ward. Okay. Artemis Ward. Okay. Artemis Ward was kind of leading Bunker Hill, and that kind of wasn't a victory. That's a great guess, though. There are very close guesses. Now, I've stalled with several stories at this point. It is one of the tougher questions of the night. Morgan lost some of his skirmishes. The answer, according to the card, is George Rogers Clark, commander of the least appreciated, I was going to say most underappreciated, I think that's a double negative, theater of the war. Is the Western theater of the war is brutal and violent and hard to read about. And George Rogers Clark was leading it, and he never lost out there. An absolute astounding part of the Revolutionary War is George Rogers Clark's part. Older brother of William Clark, who would later famously part of Lewis and Clark's expedition out west. So that is it for our questions today. Now we're going to do our big grand finale. As I said earlier, I'm gonna need to pop it up. As I said a little bit earlier, that's a whole yep, Western Theater. Learn about it. Theaters of the American Revolution is the book I'd recommend. It's a very brief overview of all the theaters, but it has a very good section about the Western Theater, which is a great overview. It's a great they're like, we talked about this last week. I meant to grab it. I told you to remind me at the end, Troy. Remind me at the end again, and I'll grab it for you. I know it's behind me somewhere. It's a great book. Now we are gonna pop over here. We are going to start doing this just the first week of the month. This is our grand finale. I'm sure everyone here right now has been part of it. If you are new, we're going to name all the founders we possibly can. Unfortunately, as I was saying earlier, just so many people come and see, oh, look, someone's doing American Revolution trivia. Let's see what that's about. And when I'm asking the questions, some people hang around. And when I'm just here typing and saying names, it's not the best content, I've realized. So it'll be a special event once a month. We will replace it with some other fun stuff, I assure you. Before we get to this, as Misfit reminded me last week, we have our Discord channel. It's kind of fallen a little dormant. I'm going to pop it up real quick here just to show you. It's essentially like a social media forum, but it's just for us. This is the memes. We have a great meme section. We have I do announcements. You can ask questions. There's just a whole world of stuff we can do. I've started giving homework, as Misfit reminded me, which is essentially just games on Sporkle. So check those out. There is a link in the description below. Please come join us. It's a lot of fun. I have to get my stuff back to where it was. Can I pull that up? It's a lot of fun. Someone left because they don't want to participate at all. And before we go on, I need to show you what I said I would do 2 weeks ago. Go to the meme section, add some American Revolution memes, because every week I'm going to do a top 3 of my favorite memes that you guys post over there. This week we're just doing one, because only Misfit posted so far, but we did have a good thing going for a little bit. It fell a little dormant. There was a bunch of people posting memes. Get your head in the game. This is a little racy. I apologize if this offends anyone, but this is my favorite meme of the week. No words needed. Just straight talking trash to the British. America. All right. So, we're getting over here. Who's ready for it? We're going to do our big grand finale. Okay, there's a few people bounced out. Don't want to do the grand finale with us. Now, you guys know the drill. We're going to name all of the American patriots involved with the legislative branch of the American Revolution. Any delegate to the First Continental Congress, any signer of the Declaration, any signer of the Articles of Confederation, any delegate, whether they signed or not, to the Constitutional Convention, and any member of the First House of Representatives or U.S. Senate. Now, I am ready to go whenever you guys are. If you guys want to start naming what I like to call the Big Six, as soon as I see a name pop up, I'm going to start playing. So, waiting patiently for you guys who are here, hanging out. YouTube is bouncing all over the place. It's telling me there's 1,000 people here, there's no people here. I don't know. So, waiting on you, unless you all left. Excellent connection. You guys know the names. Don't leave me hanging. Are you leaving me hanging? Why? Because I looked in my books? Don't do that. Okay. There we go, Colonel. Thank you for getting it started. I got the memes on there. I hope you saw it. All right, Colonel coming through with Madison. And that's it. Time started. There's more than that. All right, Colonel's going. Monroe. Washington. Who's going to help her? Who's going to help Colonel? Naming some names. Lee, that's a bunch. Franklin, absolutely. Anybody there? Troy. Deborah. Where'd you go? You guys were here the whole time. Cookie always pops in and then leaves pretty quick. That's okay. We got things to do. Uh-oh. Are you guys mad at me because it's the last time we're going to do it for a while? Are you protesting? If you're going to silently protest, you got to let me know in advance. Hamilton. There we go, Colonel. Do you want to see me run through it? Is that it? Are you just putting me on the block here? Seeing how many I can get? I'll do it. I'll do it if you guys don't want to help. Anyone popping in? We are just about to name every American revolutionary we can possibly think of, specifically in the legislative branch. Colonel giving us Tommy J, Tommy Jeff. We're going to have to name them a lot quicker than this if we want to get through it. No one wants to sit here and watch me play it myself. I think you're alone too, Colonel. I don't know what happened. People are here. Unless their connection, they are behind. That's on them. There's Troy. Well, welcome to the team, buddy. Hayward, Lawrence, Gadsden, Otis. All right. We just get that second person in there and everyone takes off. There it is. Gary, Ellery, Stockton, Whammy. Well played. Good start. Dana, yes. Yates, Lovell. All right. Moving along. I am going to replace this with similar games, but I'm going to break it down so that we play kind of section by section. You can either do declaration signers, state by state, things like that. Eventually, I'm going to add just a mega list, is my plan. Thornton of New Hampshire. A declaration signer from New Hampshire. Lynch, that's 2. Daddy Tommy and Baby Tommy. Wadsworth. Yes, the Wadsworth family was important. That Wadsworth was probably not William. Is it William Wadsworth? Pendleton, from Connecticut. Super wealthy, invested in the Continental Army, and made a profit off of the war. Cadwalader, that's probably 2. Oh no, just the 1? I guess they're not counting the brother that shot Conway in the face. Langworthy. Is it Timothy Langworthy? I don't remember a lot about him. Huntington was a signer. The Declaration, I think. Collins. Folsom. Daniel Folsom went to the first Continental Congress from New Hampshire. Yeah. Bourne. I don't know about the name Bourne. And Marchant. I think they're from Rhode Island, but I can't remember a ton about them. Let's see. DeHart. And Hart. Okay. Well, John DeHart was from New Jersey. Signs the. I think he signed the Declaration. No. He signed the Articles of Confederation. Then had to hide in a cave because they came and took his house. The Brits. Van Dyke. Van Rensselaer. The Rensselaers were one of the wealthiest families in all of the colonies. They essentially owned Albany. Robert Joe. They owned all the land. The Van Rensselaers owned all the land around Albany. They were just unfathomably wealthy, and they owned a manor. They were lords of the manor of Rensselaer because New York was a feudal system well after the American Revolution ended, where there were literally feudal lords that owned most of the land in New York State. Why Van Rensselaer got so wealthy. Robert Joe. Oh, we did Robert Joe. That's right. Wentworth. Klingon. Ashe. So Ashe is actually an interesting family. I think they're from North Carolina. Steele. Ingersoll. The Ashe family had a bunch of soldiers. I don't want to confuse them with Nash. That Nashville was named after. I always seem to do that. Ingersoll was one of the inaugural, I don't remember if he went to the Constitutional Convention, but he was one of the inaugural justices of the Supreme Court. William Blount, fascinating character, basically founded Tennessee with people's help. Biddle, I keep getting contacted by Jan with more information on the Biddle family. One of our biggest supporters, Janet, is a descendant of the Biddle family and absolutely loves them and sends me so much information about it. And I love it. I'm super happy to write about them because it's hard to find information about some of the lesser known families. So all the help I can get. Davy and Harvey, for sure. Conti, Benjamin Conti. I remember his name, but I don't remember. I remember writing the article about him, but I don't remember what it was about. I don't know why I'm confusing him with Thomas Treadwell. Sini and Galloway. Galloway's was a loyalist. Sherman, Roger Sherman for sure. Law? No, that's a good guess though. It's an interesting guess. Roger Sherman plummeted down my top 100 list this year, unfortunately. Spencer. Nope. Don't know of the Spencer on this list. I'm going to double back to John Harvey, who was a close friend growing up of Thomas Jefferson. They went to college together. Not. Yes. In fact, it was when Thomas Jefferson's father died, it was John Harvey's father that took over his legal custody, essentially, because his mother couldn't, of course, at the time. Huntington, I think we did. So yeah, he grows up with John Harvey, and they're close friends. Chase, Dean, Dyer, Mason. Whammy, that's a nice run. Hanson. William Dyer is a fascinating character, too, because he, before the war, goes out to, French and Native American territory, and Livermore, Dewar. No, it's Dewar. I was confused Dewar and Dyer. I think it was William Dewar. I think it was Dyer. Oh, it's gonna eat at me. You know what? I am gonna bring it up. Because we're going real slow today. And I am going to bring it up. Dewar. Let's see. And you guys are putting in names. Computer's moving hella slow. Sorry, I did take a phone call. No worries, Troy. Better than nothing. Gwinnett Hosmer. Titus Hosmer. Let's see. Yes, okay, so it's William Dewar. Oh, I'm gonna keep typing them. Sturgis, Kinsey, Trumbull, Floyd. William Dewar, as a young man, goes out to western New York in that area and starts fur trading and builds a fortune off the fur trade. All right. Dickinson, Jay. Oh, Lorne's here. Sumter. Welcome, Lorne. We need your help. We're doing terrible today. Bain, McKeon. Welcome back, Lorne. Rodney, Wolcott, Wilson. But anyway, William Dewar makes a tidy little fortune and then comes back to New York. I think he does sign the Articles of Confederation and then almost bankrupts America during the first 2 years of Washington's presidency. Almost ruins Hamilton's financial plans because his speculation went very bad. Fremont, that's a good guess. John C. Fremont is someone's vice president. I think it's a little later in the game. Braxton, Carter Braxton. Super wealthy, owned a lot of humans. What's the topic? Oh, Lauren, we're just doing legislative branch. Just name all the names. Anyone in the boardroom. None of the generals. Everyone in the boardroom. Blair Bannister. Yeah, Fremont. Yeah, I think Fremont's a little, John C. Fremont. He was a vice president, but for whom? Oh, man. Is it Lincoln? Was he Lincoln's friend? Or was he the guy who ran for the Republican Party before Lincoln? Help me out. I think we do Blair and Bannister? Brown with White Walker. About halfway done. I'm interested to see if you can hit 150 today. It's certainly not as good as we've ever done, but it's just a few of us here playing. I think we can do it. And see, guys, this is why I'm probably going to stop. I'm only going to do this particular event once a month because while there are a bunch of us that really like it, there are people who tune in for the first time and are like, what is going on here? Grayson, first senator to die in office. Houston, Lincoln's VP was John. Oh, that's right. That's right. Because he has all the similarities with Kennedy. Zubley? No. But it was Johann something Zubley. Got kicked out of the Continental Congress for not being radical enough. Benson, Ward. Do we do Ward? No. Griffin, Moore. Or less. Bland. That's probably 2. Yep. Paca, Coles. Whammy, 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 whammy. Pierce. There it is. There. Oh, did we not do Coles? Whoops. Coles, Pierce, Page, Tileman. I know it's Tillman. Parker. I used to spell it. I have a habit of spelling Tillman the wrong way because I always feel like it's Tighl. Till. Giles. Hawthorne. So it's Hathorne. No W, Lorne. I know. It doesn't make any sense. Gilman. If I spell it right. Gilman. Harrison. Gale. Gilman is the only person on my top 100 for the last 2 years that I have not written an article or made a video about yet, even though I know a lot about him. He's just really important to the war. I actually considered writing like my first biography about him years ago, and that's why I didn't write about him, but I think it's time. I give him a day. Sinixon. Okay, what happened there? Sinixon. Hale? Oh, Hale dies pretty early on. Randolph. Muhlenberg. All right, we're getting double doses here. Langworthy. Oh, we did that one earlier. That's all right. That is the correct answer, though. Hartley. Huger. Heister. Heister. I before E, except after C or whatever. Thompson. Yes. Mercer. Yes. Now we're starting to get a little steam. Now Lorne showed up. We're starting to give it the old college try. Who can I talk about? I talked about Thompson recently in a video, kind of lengthily. Randolph's are fun. Sylvester, yes. Fitzsimmons, yes. One of the Catholics that signed the Constitution. Morse. How can we forget? That's several correct answers. At least 2, if not, no, it's 3 correct answers. And one of my kids' names. So we don't want to forget that one. Maclay, yes. Here we go. All right, we got 7 minutes. Can we get 31 more in 7 minutes? I think we can. Did I do Rush? Yeah, we did. Coates. No, you're thinking Charles Coatsworth Pinckney. St. Clair is going to work. That name was not on my list this year, and I kind of regretted it halfway through giving my 3-hour video, which was too long. I just felt the need to defend so much of what I had said. Wincoop. I thought it would be like the first 40 people, I'm like the first 80 people, I tell you who they are and why they're here real quick, and then go on. In the top 20, I'd have to defend their position. But I realized I started defending where people were on the list at like 45. Ames, did we do that? Hancock, who was way further down the list than people expected. There's another name I'm not going to say because I don't know if we did it. Bassett, Cushing, Crane, Strong, Walker. I think we did. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't do all the big 6. Lynch, we must have done. Middleton, Thatcher. There's like one of the biggest names of the American Revolution is several correct answers from Massachusetts. Big 6. Didn't do it yet. So I can't finish my story. Goodhue, Hudson, Biddle. My hint is there was someone whose name is really famous in the American Revolution who was down in like the late 30s that some of the viewers were not pumped about. Sedgwick. We did Jefferson. Big Massachusetts. Mifflin. Jefferson. We did, yeah. Nope. Did Washington. Did we do Washington? Okay, good. Might as well check. Elmer. I'm going to check Jefferson too, just in case. Morton. Lee, we did. Humphreys. There it is, Troy. Adams. Not only is it John Sam Adams, there's a guy named Thomas Adams, unrelated, who also counts. I forget the story I was telling about Adams. Jonathan Grout. Jonathan Grout built the first telegraph system in the United States. It wasn't an electronic telegraph system. It was flags, kind of like SOS flags that you see on like the Beatles album Help. And basically they were started in France, but I forget where on the coast, but Boston Harbor was hard to sail in because there were rocks and tides at certain times. and Jonathan Grout got funding for and built a series of towers where the people at the towers, a ship would come in and signal to a tower, and they would signal back to Boston. And it was something crazy where, like, they cut. You could suddenly send a message. It was like 30 miles in 5 minutes, as opposed to like 30 minutes on horseback. Where was I? Got Adams, Washington, Grout, Walton, Lewis, Coldwater. No, it's Cadwalader. And yeah, we did a little bit earlier. But it's a good guess, Lauren. I know what you're saying there. Leonard, Dwayne, Broom. Oh, I gave away Broom. That says Borum, but I typed Broom. Whoops. Borum is a correct answer. Lansing, do we do that? Nope. Low. Rhodes is right. Ross. Oh, Ross is right. I forgot about George Ross. And it's like his niece, Betsy. Wisner. Herring. Bedford. Well, Broom, I just gave to you guys. So, okay. All right. Oh, we got 150. That's a great mark. Can we get 170? Gun. Wincoop. I think we did. Yo. Touch type in. Benson. I think we did that earlier. Lawrence. No, Lauren, I will help you. Lawrence with an A. Oh, okay. Okay, it's Lawrence. Which is not how you spell Lawrence. My dad's name is Lawrence. You spelled it right. Hopkins. Ward. Oh, we did Ward. Oh, doesn't like me. Rutledge. Should be several correct answers. Pinkney. It should be several correct answers. Sure, you got Hopkins. Is there another name that's just like that, but with a little more, maybe? Maybe. Maybe. Middleton. Oh, we did Middleton. That is two correct answers, too. Okie doke. Pinckney brothers are a lot of fun. I actually left Thomas Pinckney off the list this year. I gave him a shout out when I did his brother Charles Coachworth Pinckney. Between the two of them, they were the vice presidential candidate in vice presidential or presidential candidates for the Federalist Party for 3 consecutive elections. So, kind of a big deal. Okay, let's see. Kinsey. Hoskins. No. Butler. Johnson. Hopkins' son. There it is. Thank you, Lauren. Jackson. Hosmer. John Stun. Do we do John Son? I guess we did. Never mind. Trying to be helpful. Didn't work. DeHart, I think we did earlier. He's the one who hid in a cave. Crane, we did Scudder, the doctor who died in battle. Daniel Scudder making the list. We did get 170. Can we get 175? Rarely, absolutely. Committee of Postponed Parts. Who do you remember who was the chairman of the Committee of the Whole that I've been really harping on for several years now? Chairman of the Committee of the Whole. Also reached out to Prince Henry of Prussia to see if he wanted to be king. Ellsworth. Payne. Must have done Payne. Oh, Caswell. Nailed it. Oh, we're going to get one more. We're going to get one more. 3 seconds. 2 and 1. And that's it. Oh, did we not get John Jay? Well, oh, we didn't get Timothy Bloodworth. We didn't get a lot. Let's be honest. First of all, 177 out of 243 is actually impressive. I know it might not feel that way because we've achieved this so many times, but to be fair, it was just 2 people till Lauren heroically showed up and willed us, as a team captain will do when injured in the playoffs, willed us from basically 80 to 177. So we were off to a really slow start. Like, no, that's all right. No, everyone kind of left today. Weird day, apparently. But I do want to give big thumbs up to Colonel, who basically, big thumbs up to Troy, Colonel, Lauren. Big thumbs up to all three of you. Colonel had put the one, like she said, like Washington, I think, and I typed it in, and then no one said anything for like 2 or 3 minutes. So that was tough, but we played catch up really well. And once we got in a roll, we got in a roll. If we had started a little stronger, I think we would have done it. I feel it. Feel it in my heart. Let's see. There I am. That's me. Troy, before I go, I did tell Troy the last 2 weeks I tell him about a book, so forgive me while I turn my back to the camera. It is somewhere here. Oh boy, what was I looking for? It was not in the Fed. It was, oh, here. Theaters of the American Revolution. It looks like this. It's gonna out of focus me. I'll focus the book, and then I will now be out of focus for the rest of our conversation. Theaters of the American Revolution: Northern, Middle, Southern, Western, Naval. It's primarily edited by James Kirby Martin and David L. Preston, but oh, that's right, I got it signed. I forgot. It's one of the few books I have that's signed. Imagine that. Well, maybe that's why I'm promoting it. No, there's a different author on every section. The Western Theater is actually authored by Mark Edward Lender, one of the authors of this book. And he's done good work on, he's focused most of his career on that part of the war. Highly recommend it. Got some shit on the back. Got some stuff, something on the back of it. I don't know where I put it, but I highly recommend, Troy, I highly recommend it because you keep saying you want to get into the Western Theater. It is just an overview. It's basically one chapter that just runs through the Western Theater. That being said, it's like 40 pages, but it's, considering there have been hundreds of thousands of like books written on this. Actually, the Western Theater, there have not been hundreds of thousands in the Western Theater. Yeah. Troy, do me a favor. Go to any article on my website and click there, and it'll take you to Amazon if you want to buy it on Amazon, and then I will get like 30 cents just because you go through my link. Actually, if you go through my link and buy literally anything else on Amazon, Amazon still pays me, and it doesn't change your price. This was interesting about Amazon. It like won't raise your price to pay me. Amazon just gives me a very small sliver of their gross profits. But I'm not going to talk about modern politics on this channel. Actually, if you want to help be like Troy who bought a shirt, buy a cup. Or become a Patriot on Patreon, which I know most of you actually have. So thank you guys tremendously. As someone who's been literally bleeding money into Founder of the Day for like 3.5 years now, the 50 or 60 bucks that Patreon brings me is amazing because it helps. I mean, I just got to the point where my emails, about 6 months ago, I had started having to pay for the emails, so it's 20 bucks a month. And now I just got enough people subscribed where I send too many emails. And so now I have to pay 30 bucks because I went over this month. So thanks for balancing out between my emails and then hosting for the website, which I know most of you guys just watch me on YouTube. So you don't really necessarily pay attention to the articles, which is fine. That's why I do YouTube. But that's where it's cost me money. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are amazing. I have fun with this. Like I said, there are going to be some trivia changes next week, but that's okay. Also, you guys really seem to like the countdown last week. I'm not going to do 100-person countdowns anymore, but people were upset with certain characters that did not make it to, that were low on the list. So I'm thinking about doing a few more lists like that on Saturday nights. Not every week, but once or twice a month. I'm thinking about doing more things like that because you guys seem to like it. So I want to give you the best fun, most content that you enjoy. So we're going to do that every once in a while. Look for that. I've been releasing schedules on Wednesday. Like I said, go to the Discord channel in the link below to join the conversation. I'd really like to make that active. When I first started it was, and then it kind of fell off because I wasn't paying enough attention, but now I am paying attention. I promise you. So go there, make sure that way you can get my schedule. You see if there are time changes for videos, blah, 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 blah. I'm all done. Thank you guys. Peace field. And I will be back with another founder for you tomorrow.